Okay, happy to meet everybody. As mentioned, my name is Colin, and I'm from O2, Telefonica, O2/Telefonica. Quick question, can anybody here, I just want to get a feel of who is agency side and who's client side. Could I get a raise of hands for anyone who's working client side? Cool, and agency side, I suppose that's just the difference. Okay, so it kind of looks like there's a majority of people client side, which is really cool. A little bit of background to myself. I've been working client side between two different companies for almost 3 years now, but the majority of the time, around 6, 7 years, it's spent agency side. So I've got a bit of understanding of the differences between working client side and working agency side. But what we're going to talk about today is something that's become really important working client side, which is really and truly understanding how to integrate SEO with your business. When you're working in a large business like O2, what I found is that it's, I suppose you really have to look at how you can blend SEO with your different functions. So previously at O2, SEO was based in the online team, which makes perfect sense. But more recently, we transitioned, as most large companies do, into our marketing team. And what that meant, it meant a change of what SEO meant. It meant changing the direction that we pushed SEO to make sure that it actually delivers a marketing goal as opposed to just an online goal, which is just optimizing your website. So the aim of today's presentation is really to look at how we can find value in SEO above and beyond the simple optimization of your website based on technical issues or on-page optimization, basic things like that. It's really looking into how you can look at how does SEO work with your marketing team? How does SEO work with your campaigns planning team? How does it work with your sales team? And how does it work together? Because really, to deliver a complete SEO package, you really need to get that learning and transfer it across your whole business. So we're just going to discuss a few different things today. We're not really going to look at the basics of pandas and the penguins. We're going to look at the different areas that will pay attention to a large business. And we're going to look at how we're going to explore maximizing the potential gains that you can get for your different departments. I'm going to jump straight through this slide here, because it's an interesting point which we just covered. So the areas that we're going to look at today are data, attribution, and branding. Now, there's an interesting fact there, which I've come to, which is essentially these 3 points here have become very important at O2. At data, we're looking at which is really getting that information that every SEO specialist has and channeling that information into your different business functions. With attribution, it's probably a popular thing that everyone's looking into now, different attribution tools, whether it be attribution digitally or looking at the whole scheme of your business and looking into econometrics. But with SEO, attribution really becomes a key point, which we'll go through in more detail soon. And finally, we're going to look at branding and the importance of your brand to the performance of your site with SEO metrics. So the question that we've got to begin with, kicking off with data, is how can we leverage that search data across our marketing communications, which is the first thing that has become important to me with SEO being in our marketing department. Now, we know that there's a lot of data that we get from SEO. A whole lot of data, because essentially with your online website, you pretty much can find out what people are interested in, when they're interested in it, and the language that they use to describe these products or services that you're intending to sell and provide to your customers. This little fact here, Google processes over 40,000 searches every second. So we know that the SEO team or the search team is sitting on a vast amount of information that we can use across all our different channels. So I made this little pie chart here just to look at the different types of information that we can share with our marketing. And when I talk about marketing, I mean all the different activities that your marketing team may be using. So you can think about TV, you can think about press, you can think about outdoor. Typically, these things are managed or controlled by our creative agencies. They'll come up with these ideas that they believe will spread your message and communicate best to your audience. But really and truly what we found at O2 is that the search team is the best place to start. Because essentially we'll be able to gather all this information and all these points in that pie chart there. Everything down from traffic potential. So we'll be able to identify if a certain product that the marketing team wants to target has any potential in the online space. We'll be able to look at labeling, so we'll know exactly what we need to talk about, what we need to call these products. Because that becomes very important when you have a brand as big as O2 that is obsessed with branding their products and making sure that their products have their own names, that builds on the whole idea of what O2 is. But we can't lose touch of being obsessed with over-branding and not letting our customers know exactly what it is we're providing. Measurement. Measurement just links back to traffic potential, essentially. So we're able to give that traffic potential, but then in terms of UVs and traffic to the site, we're able to estimate exactly what we should be getting from this product that we're providing, essentially. And then basic things such as search trends and search term relationships. So using various scraping tools that some agencies and some clients might be using, like we are, we're able to pull the information from Google. So, for example, the the related searches that you find at the bottom of your search listings page, or the search suggestions that you get when you start typing in part of a term. These are all terms and information that Google is providing us to let us know when a particular term is related to another term. And this is the information that we can use within our marketing campaigns to better advise our teams and then onto our customers into what needs to be provided. There's a small quote there that I got from someone who works in programmatic, which you'll probably all be aware of. And what's interesting about programmatic is that it's understanding the importance of data. Now that's focused primarily on display, but the message runs true that whenever you're working with a creative department, you absolutely need to begin with data, because it will actually drive and give you that measurability. So stepping into this, a little more information, working with this whole data thing. The reasons why it's important is because, just to reiterate, you need to know what to promote. And that lets you, with your search data, you'll be able to know exactly what your consumers are looking for. You'll be able to look at the search trends and find exactly what they want and provide that product. What to say. You'll be able to know exactly what to call your term. So whether, for example, I'll give you a small example though too. We previously used to call our SIM-only deals. And for anyone who doesn't know, SIM-only deals is a SIM card that doesn't come with a phone. We used to call our SIM-only deals simplicity. And we use that term continuously. And the area that we lost out on is because we didn't know that our customers are actually calling that SIM-only deals. That was the highest search term. That's what people relate to. SIM-only deals or SIM-only. So all of our promotion now, all of our display in magazines and newspapers and on TV mentions simplicity. Now, for simplicity, it was #1, and we got all the audience. We got all the traffic. We got all the attention. But for SIM-only, it was a massive gap that we was missing out on. Now, on the website, obviously our SEO team optimized for the right terms, but outdoor and everywhere else, we wasn't taking advantage of that. So that's an example. And then finally, what to expect. Obviously, you'll know if we do optimize for the correct terms, we'll know what the reach is, we'll know what the opportunity is for using these right terms within our marketing. So just a real-life example here. I got this screenshot. I took a picture of my phone yesterday. This is out of the newspaper. If we look a year ago, this would have said, discover a flexible simplicity deal, which doesn't really mean anything to anyone who doesn't already know O2. However, changing that and taking the information from the SEO team, they realized that they had to change this. I mean, and there's still distance to go. Primarily, there should be a message saying search O2 simplicity, but that's phase 2. O2's above-the-line strategy connects with its customers by speaking their language. And that's an important takeaway, I believe. Now, the second point we're going to look into, linking SEO content to your sales. Now, this part, I suppose, jumps into a familiar term which you mentioned earlier, which is attribution. Attribution, in case can I get a hand for anyone here who doesn't know what attribution is or would like a little brief explanation? Okay, so really simple. Attribution is just, or digital attribution is this idea of following your customer through their sales funnel, and instead of focusing on a last click basis, which means the last action that somebody had before they made a sale, whether that be through paid search, make a sale, or through natural search, make a sale, or through display, make a sale. Attribution looks at everywhere else they went before they reached that final touch point. So they may have gone, for example, through display, come back, gone through paid search, and then gone to natural search. That would have attributed that sale, last click would have attributed that journey to natural search, but obviously we're missing out a large area. Now, the reason why I bring out this as an SEO point is because everybody would know, or anybody who understands the value of SEO would know that SEO or natural search, it's really a discovery tool. It's what people do when they don't really know what they're looking for. Oh, obviously, they also do when they are looking for, but it's what you do to find information. You search, which means that you're potentially not ready to buy something when you're searching for it. You might just be looking for information. You might just be researching. You might just want to understand more about this product or service. So, understood that most of the people here understand what our attribution is, but what's important here is that we need to understand the value of our first click interactions. Now, what I mentioned earlier is that working in a larger corporate, it's very much making sure that natural search is understood with our different areas. So, for example, one of the challenges I have is giving sales targets. The sales targets we have to give are based on a last click because that's what's readily available. Traditionally, getting your attribution data is not something you can get weekly or daily. So what we do as a baseline is we use last click. But those numbers obviously are missing out on the large amount of information from the sales that are actually generated through people who typed in SIM-only deals because they want you to know what SIM-only deals was. So you really need to pay attention to the quality or the importance of the content that you can build to attack to target, sorry, the choice of word, to target your audience that are actually doing the investigating, that are in the investigating stage. There's a few examples there of some types of content that are based around the first click. And these are specifically relevant to a business like O2. Because obviously we're selling handsets, we're selling digital services, we're selling devices. New technology, rumors, innovation coming soon. These are all types of content that we previously wasn't large in, that we're now moving into because we are now understanding that all of our sales targets based on natural search are literally controlled or directly influenced by the interactions we have with our customers in the beginning. But it extends more to first click. It actually is the whole journey. So really, attribution is key if we just look at attribution within natural search. Attribution within natural search looks at the importance of the different types of content you can build throughout that journey. And this is something that we're having to educate with our sales team. Let your sales team know that the sales that you're providing, the sales numbers you're providing, if you're based on last click in your weekly reports, are not including the influence that the other types of content would be providing. And why is that important? That's important because your sales team may not initially want to support a budget for additional content around awareness or additional content around research, because that might typically not fit well in your e-commerce site. But actually, we'll know once we think about this that these types of content actually will increase all your different channels as well, from online to offline. Now, those percentages there I got from a tool, a Google tool, and I think on a previous slide I had the URL that you could look at after. But apparently, what Google says is for our telecoms industry in the UK, 35% of the interactions from the awareness stage directly influence a sale. 44 in the consideration stage. That's really top weighted on the awareness stage and this is influencing sales for all channels. So the key takeaway from this point here is that you really need to focus on the content that you're building throughout the whole journey. Make sure that your content strategy ticks off every single one of these boxes, and make sure that you build this content directly for those customers in those journeys. Don't try and cheat by having a product page that has reviews and it has some evaluations and it has a call to action, because this type of page is not really what a customer is looking for. The minute they see sales, they're gonna literally click off, because that's not what they was interested for. That's not what they was interested in. So looking at how we've actually taken advantage of that ourselves is our gurus section. Now, what we have here, just a little background, gurus is it's like our Apple geniuses. It's our area where we can communicate with our customers or any other customer who isn't on O2 and give them impartial information. And this is our conduit to provide our consideration content, which we have on our website, we have in our stores, because they're actual people. But we understand now, we're understanding more that we need to actually provide this information. Now, the final point, which I want to look at, which is quite interesting, increasing your relevancy in Google. Now, this one's actually quite interesting to me personally, because I suppose this is the first point in this talk that speaks really about actually increasing your rankings, as opposed to the idea of making SEO fit within your business. Branding is very key for a large corporate. Now, it's something that comes easy. I mean, everybody here knows that if you type in your brand name plus your product, you rank #1. It's a given. It's also a funny area, because you might have agencies that sometimes use that benefit to show how you're performing. They might say this month you're performing amazingly, but forget to tell you that half that performance, or 80% of that performance, is coming from your brand. Now, small point there, 80% of organic traffic is from brand plus generic searches. So most of your traffic is coming from people typing in your brand name and people typing in your product plus your brand name. We know that. It's that 20% that we're interested in, which is the generic traffic. It's when people are typing in your product without your name, how do you increase your performance? So, interesting points here. I pulled out 3 points from Google Webmaster Central. If there's anybody who does search, you'll be very accustomed with that website. It's amazing. It's really great. It's the area where Google literally tells you how to do SEO. But it's potentially cryptic, because the information they give is it's not direct. But after you've been doing SEO for a little while, those little points make perfect sense. So let's just have a look at some of those points there. These are lists that came out when Google Panda was launched. And this was, I think Google said something along the lines of, we won't tell you how to optimize your site, but we will tell you the questions that we ask ourselves as Google when we're trying to list a perfect search list. So the first one, would you recognize this site as an authoritative source when mentioned by name? So that's interesting, because Google's saying, would you know this brand? So they're looking at who the listings are, who's in the top 10 listings. Would the audience know the brand? Is it an important brand? Second one, would users complain when they see pages from this site? So is it a site that's untrustworthy, or again, like a poor branded site? And then finally, would you trust the information presented in this article on a site? So typically in a site like O2, we understand that the way I read this is it tells me that brand and everything associated with brand is very key. But what are the questions? How can we use this information to increase our rankings if we're just talking about brand? How can we help our generic searches? What's the connection? Well, we look here, 3 points, little graph that I made. And the idea of this is that it's the understanding the link between your brand and your generic. And to put real simply, it's as simple as this. If you have a strong brand, your generic will be pushed. How does that work? Well, with O2, and we see this directly, if we have a new product and we call it, for example, SEO deals, if we promote in all of our above the line, our press, our TV, if we label it O2 SEO deals, what we're doing directly is we're telling Google, sorry, not O2, we're telling Google that essentially every time someone then searches, we're telling our audience to search O2 SEO deals. Then Google will see this traffic coming in, Google will see these terms coming through, and they'll instantly relate these massive amount of traffic. So remember that 80% that I spoke about, large amount of traffic. Google will see all of these customers now searching for SEO deals, but related to this product. We've seen direct correlations where we've increased our brand messaging, and the performance of the ranking of our pages for generic terms has increased. Because what we're doing is we're proving to Google that our audience really relates or connects our brand to this term. And this is something that only is really possible when you're in a large corporate, when you know that you have a large amount of people searching for your products. If you're not forcing them to link their searches with your search term, your SEO search term and your brand term, you're not telling Google that we really should be listed as the authority for this product, this search term. So you do that in your above-the-line media. You do it in your TV, in your outdoor, everywhere. You connect your brand name to your product, to your service. And then what happens after that? Your brand demand increases. You're forcing your audience to also search for your brand more. You're telling them to, and they'll do it. Tell your audience what to search for, they search for it. Increase your brand traffic. As a result of that, you'll be increasing your generic traffic. And then from the back of that, you'll see the final box, which will increase your search engine authority for those generic terms. It's a simple comparison, and it works very strong. Now, examples of where this works, or examples of, for us, a great example, I suppose, is somewhere that we've got a lot of history in our product list. We were the first UK provider back in 2007, long before I worked at O2, to offer a specific handset that pretty much there may be some people. Is anybody here who knows what handset I'm talking about? That's it, the iPhone. So there are a lot of people who instantly relate O2 to iPhone because we were the first that did it. Now, this is one example. In this example, I think if you, and I took this screenshot yesterday, obviously personalized search, there might be some differences, but on average, our average position for this term at the moment is position 3. Number 1 goes to Apple, fair enough, it's their brand. Number 2 goes to TechRadar. Very, very strong performing site who in our industry, just to let you know, performs massively well because of the amount of content, the amount of information. They're a pure review site. Now, for us to be in position 3 for this handset, which only came out last year, is because we have that affinity with the brand, with the product. O2 iPhone, iPhone O2. All of our customers who still have the iPhone will make that link whenever they're searching for our product. Now, I mean, it's an old example, but it is something that happens more and more. The more and more we understand that link between connecting our brand to our product, to our target search terms. Now, it's important because going back to linking search with your different departments, that's linking search with your content and creative team. It's linking search with your creative agency. It's linking search to all of your media activity. When all of these different areas understand the importance of search, of SEO specifically, you'll have more buy-in to actually making a change. So there may be some of you out there that understand or that can appreciate the struggle sometimes in a large corporate of getting an SEO, getting SEO implementations. Sorry, this is a timer, looks like I've run over. Of getting an implementation, an SEO implementation actioned with SEO. It can be difficult, it can be challenging because there are people in the business who don't understand the value. The way to get around that is to use these different areas to point out the different parts of your businesses that will understand the benefits of SEO. So with data, it's going to your marketing teams and actually giving them the insights to build their campaigns. Being the first person they come to ask exactly how should I create my TV ad, what do I need to talk about? And in most companies, the brand team is so powerful that once they're behind you, you pretty much have the support you need. Looking at attribution, it's telling your sales team, it's telling the online sales team the value of the different types of content. And if you increase those content areas in the awareness and the consideration stage, you potentially will have the benefit of the end result of increasing your top line. So get your sales team behind you by telling them the importance of attributed figures based on SEO content. And finally, with brand. Again, we're looking at our brand departments when they're creating these laws. So it's kind of similar to the data, I suppose. Very similar to the data, but this is the point that will, honestly, if you're a big brand, it will push your brand up in generics, which is where you'll be able to target your unlocked potential, the areas where you don't automatically rank on page 1. So just a summary of the key takeouts, which I've literally just gone through. And seeing as I've run over, I think that's probably where I'll cut it.